Hello and welcome back. My name is Ajay
And I'm Manasvi Priyadarshi.
and you are watching UI 5 webinar. So in this webinar, there's yet another very exciting topic and something which we have already tried on our platform. So let's go ahead because I don't want to really emphasize on how was the experience because I think we will see what are the shortcomings of a loader. Okay, there it is. I said. It is a loader, and some people will recognize loader as a way where you can make your application much more accepted.
Yes.
If it's a slow application.
Make it look faster.
True. So basically, why we have picked loader? Can you tell us?
So the reason is nowadays, there are many developers upcoming.
Yeah.
And especially the beginners who don't have a lot of experience in web development. They fail to optimize a lot of things.
Yeah.
And because of that, the app looks really slow, and it is actually really slow. The problem with that is there is very less user adoption.
Yeah, true.
Because they don't want to wait for like 4, 5, 10, 15 seconds to actually see the app getting loaded and then start to use it. So loaders are a hack by which you can make the waiting time much more pleasant for the user.
True.
Yeah. So if I'm waiting for 10 seconds, I might as well see something nice on the screen rather than seeing the page getting loaded. So that's why loaders are there, and it actually enhances the user experience in a broader sense. So that's the biggest reason why we are going to talk a lot about loaders, and they are an important part of an app because it gives the user a sense of like something is happening in the app. Okay, say I click on a button, say login, and nothing is happening in the screen, but the process is happening in the backend, like where my front end is talking to the backend and verifying whether I am the correct user or not, and then it's redirecting me to the new page. So all this time, if I'm looking at a blank screen, then maybe I'll get bored or I'll think that my computer is hanged or something, and I would just do random clicks or maybe close the website.
True. I think one of the major challenge when I was working on some of the enterprise applications is they have built a library which is quite big, and because you need a lot of components, you add further components on third-party libraries, which will make it further slow. And sometime by also having maybe a third-party library which could drag the loading time to maybe 30 seconds or maybe 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And there is a very big time interval. So within this duration, you need to show something, at least loading or some animation.
Yes.
Because nowadays most of the frameworks are front-end frameworks.
Yeah.
And they will be requiring heavy loading of the libraries at initial load point, for which you need a loader. So within this webinar, we will be covering a hands-on loader. We will make 3 types of loader for you, which you can directly put it in your application. It's the difference between passing a user adoption testing and not passing user adoption testing. So that is something which is like crucial nowadays when most of the frameworks are requiring heavy loading at the time. The first load, I think the first load is the critical load.
Yes.
After that, maybe it will pick up. Yeah.
And
True.
So if we talk about it, then we have we can broadly classify it into 2 categories, the loaders. So the first one is indefinite loader, where you don't really know how much time is it going to take for it to actually stop and the next result to come up. And then there is something called a definite loader. Well, I have named it definite loader. It's not really called definite loader. But I have named it because it gives you a sense of like how much has been loaded or how much time is remaining.
So if I have an application which is loading initially, that is the main time when user can leave your application or get annoyed because they want to do something or want to check your site, or if they are already familiar with the application, they want to just go ahead and go to do certain activities. And if it is taking even 10 seconds, then if within the loader I'm showing how much percentage of the download has been done of the entire website, uh, that is a definite loader, I guess.
Yes. So it will tell you like 50% of the things has been loaded,
Yeah.
or 3 minutes are remaining. Those sort of things, like if you give those sort of informations while the loader is in action,
Yeah.
then you can call it definite loader, because the user then gets to know what has been accomplished and what's still there to be accomplished.
True, true. I think one more thing which I need to emphasize here is, people, we are live. If you have any experience or a problem specifically in your case, then you can also tell, because mostly what we are going to do here is we are going to create a custom loaders, I think three different type of loader,
Yes.
basically for JavaScript frameworks, because most of the UI is being developed in JavaScript, even Angular, React, everything is JavaScript. So we'll be going and building those within this webinar itself.
Yes.
And you can ask us any questions, or you can start to develop or start practicing with us within the
Yeah.
screen itself. Yeah. So let's go ahead and let's go and see our first loader. Or what's the next thing? I think it's basically trying
so
out.
we'll just try out both the types of loaders, and even in definite loaders we have two types. One is where you give an accurate information, like this much time is remaining, or one is inaccurate information, like okay, estimated time is like 3 minutes remaining.
True.
It might take 2.5 minutes or 3.5 minutes, but it just gives you like, okay, approximately here your site will be loaded.
True, true.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead initially to design a simple loader. Let's keep this session hands-on. And
Yes.
I think first we will see the indefinite loader,
Indefinite loader.
which is like what we did yesterday in our website.
Yes.
So it was it's some animation or a GIF or any kind of small event happening,
Yes.
telling or communicating to user that the website is loaded. So this is kind of the user experience. Like if they see that okay, nothing is loaded, compared to they see some action happening.
Some action happens.
Most of the time it is the company logo with a loader, so they
Yes.
know exactly, okay, I'm in the right side. They're opening the first time. So and then okay, so let's go ahead. So
Okay.
how you design a nice indefinite loader?
Okay, well, niceness comes from CSS, I guess. But okay, the things that happens in the JavaScript, like how do you actually place it? How do you know that a site has been loaded or not? For that, we will be using the events. So JavaScript works on events. So it like we have a lot of DOM related events,
Yeah.
like mouse click or keyboard button press. So similarly, we have an event called DOM content loaded.
Yeah.
Now, DOM content loaded is fired whenever we have, whenever the DOM tree has been completed.
Okay.
Like,
So basically, if I have an entire page or application, and if all the components
all
are
the
loaded,
components are loaded.
then this event will be fired and saying me that okay, you can now stop the loader. So that's
Yes.
a start and end point. I got it. So I need to start this particular animation and then I stop it, a particular animation.
Yeah.
I did the same thing in the UFI application also, but I didn't use that.
Okay.
Yeah, because in a single page app, I think it's much easy.
Yes, it's
yeah.
much easier to do that. Okay, so
Okay, so let me share the screen. So and let's go hands on in this session and try out to make our first loader for our slow applications.
okay, for the CSS part, I'll be preloading some of the CSS.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so that we have a nice effect
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
So if we are to see the hands-on here.
So you can go ahead and watch the video in ui5cn.com, and also you can come in the YouTube channel, subscribe here, and you can comment within the section of the YouTube comment chat section, and we will be we are actually live here,
Yes.
so we will be answering your question.
Yeah, we'll be answering your questions. Please go ahead and ask us as many questions as you want. So just let me increase the size a bit so that it's visible to you.
Yeah, I
Is
think it's
that good?
visible. Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, let's create a basic HTML template.
Yeah.
And okay, my awesome loader. Okay. So in the body, we'll have two divs, basically. I'm sorry, this became dir. Okay. So this is where the content will go, and this is where your loader would go. So we can just add a class to it. So loader wrapper, and this can be content wrapper. Okay. So then you start putting whatever loader that you want to put here. Say I just want to say loading.
Yeah.
Just to keep it simple without any complicated CSS and all.
Okay.
And in the content, let's have hello.
Okay. So basically, the loader is much bigger than the content. Fine,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then to make it a bit slow,
Yeah.
I'll put a script here that would slow down the loading of the DOM. So let me put the script before this div, so that this div is loaded after the script has run.
True.
So I'll just write a very big for loop.
Okay. We can also use sleep, or maybe the for loop is work fine too.
Yeah, I just want to keep it simple. I don't want to get into too much of. It's okay.
Yeah.
This doesn't do anything.
You have to write it that as well.
Okay. So this is like a loop for 10 to the power 9, and it might take 2 to 3 seconds to completely loop through it.
Depending upon speed of your computer.
Yes.
And how much memory you are using.
Yeah. So, okay. And then I'll also write a script here. I'll put the script on the top here. That would have this event listener. So document dot add event listener, and then I can have the name of the event. So DOM content loaded.
Yeah, I think this is the same event name which we have mentioned in the slides as well. DOM
Yes.
content loaded. Yeah.
Also, once the DOM content has been loaded, you can see we have a statement just below that.
Yeah, true.
Document.readyState equals complete.
Yeah.
So the value of document.readyState will become complete once the DOM content has been loaded.
Okay, true.
So if you are using polling instead of event listener, then you can actually use that. Like every interval of few milliseconds, you can check whether the document was loaded or not, and depending on that, you stop the loader and show the website.
Okay.
Okay. And then I'll have a function here. Okay. So this function will basically stop the loader and show the website.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we are going to do is simply have a few styles here.
Okay, so basically just to style the loading, because it will be showing in the top left corner. We don't do
Yes.
anything. Okay.
So for the loader wrapper, what I can do is, well, not for loader wrapper, but content wrapper. I can say the visibility to be hidden.
Yeah.
And well, loader wrapper can be there. So, okay, once DOM content has been loaded, what I need to do is hide the loader wrapper and show the content wrapper.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do here is I'll set the CSS property of loader wrapper to none, and I'll change the visibility property of content wrapper to initial or show.
Yeah. Yes.
So to do that, okay, document dot get element by ID. Let's change it to ID because ID would be easier to
Track. Yeah.
So loader wrapper. Okay. Dot style dot display equals none, and document dot get element by ID content wrapper visibility equals to initial.
Okay, so basically what we are doing is we are trying to make it hidden for initial time.
Yeah. So initially, the visibility of content is hidden,
Yeah, yeah.
and loader wrapper is showing to
Yeah.
us. Once the DOM has been loaded,
Yeah.
I hide it, the loader wrapper,
Okay.
and I show the content wrapper.
Okay, okay, okay. True.
Okay. So if we save it, and we'll also need to add the CSS that we wrote. So
Okay.
it's in the same folder.
Yeah, so we don't need to give the path, yeah.
Yes. So if I
Okay,
go
so
to
let's
Chrome-
go ahead and see the first loader.
Okay. So it is here. Webinar, loader webinar, and indefinite.html.
Yeah, so this is the first one.
So
Yeah.
if I open it,
So, yeah, let's go ahead in the console now.
okay.
So, is it loading very fast? I think we can add one more zero here.
No, we had
Too much.
No, it's taking 2 seconds of time. So, well, why isn't it visible? Okay.
Okay. So the selector was, and I think we need to change it.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's keep it as simple as the content was. Okay.
Can you? I think you can try it in cognite mode. Maybe because I think there's not much to load itself. Yeah. So
Okay.
there's yeah.
Okay, this should go above the script. Okay, I think what's happening here is
So Zaid is saying hello.
yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and fix the bug out of it. Yeah.
Okay, how can a bug be in such a small
Code, no?
code?
I think never underestimate the bug. Okay, so basically you are writing a loader and it's having a simple div as loader wrapper, and then we
Yeah.
have an event listener DOM content loader. Is the spelling correct of the DOM content loader?
Okay, yeah, this is firing because then we are changing the visibility and display, and
Okay.
it's getting appended to the specific
Yeah.
IDs, the divs. So
Equal to complete or it is initial?
initial means
Okay.
like the by default value.
Okay. So
Is it the script?
if you see the script here, I think the script is basically written in the body. Yeah.
Okay, and then the script will get fired. Okay. Let's do something.
Yeah.
Okay. So okay. So what I did was, like, once the DOM content has loaded,
Okay.
so I'm just saying, okay, wait for 2 seconds before actually doing this.
Okay. So, but then now what you have done is you have added a
Yeah,
callback function.
because this script is like taking time to run,
Yeah.
and by the time the script is loaded, after that this is getting displayed.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
But then I think what I see this code as, if we have a document add listener, you have written a callback function here.
Yes.
So basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to write a callback function um, on the DOM content loader, which is where after which all the content will be loaded
Yes.
for the website. And this is the place where you are actually displaying or hiding the loader actually.
Yes.
Yeah, but then if I see the content, if you have try to load a difficult library, maybe I think that maybe because see the DOM content is very small.
Yeah, actually, this should not be done. I was just trying to test whether it's running properly or not, and whether it is because of the script or not. Okay.
Okay, so basically, if I try to add a library which is little heavy to load, let's try with that.
Okay.
Let's try with that, because let's try with the real scenario, because what I'm thinking is it's really taking, it's been done at a very fast pace, yeah.
Yeah.
And then let's try to load a UI5 library.
Okay. Where do I get the link to UI5?
Yeah,
library?
so you say HTTPS.
Open UI5.
Yes, yeah. Open UI5, yeah. Just you can just
Library.
yeah, JavaScript library.
Okay, I think I'll get it here. Yeah, I think it's here.
So I think you have to say slash, and then you have to say resources, then SAP UI5 library.
SAP
Resources slash SAP colon
dot.
UI. I think you can see this colon UI dot co dot js. Yeah,
Okay. UI core
.js. Yeah.
dot js.
So this is quite a heavy library, which will take at
Yeah,
least
it will
1
take time.
second or 2 seconds to load. So let's try with that in the live webinar. Yeah, I think at least the content should be visible initially. Yeah,
And
you can add it in the first. I think okay. Yeah. Can you open it in the incognito window? Yeah, I think it was shown, but it's so fast that
It's
you
so
cannot.
fast.
Yes, visible. So
how about we load it 3
I
or 4
think
times?
no. What you can do here is, if you go to the network tab now, right click. Yeah, you can throttle actually, because you can. Yeah. So
Okay.
if you go a little to right side, yeah, you shift it towards little left. Yeah, so I can see a little more. Yeah, can you see the
Okay.
throttling? Yeah, so I think you can throttle to a bad 3G. Like or maybe GPRS. Yeah, you can do that as well.
Or a regular 2G.
I think the regular 2G, you can just, depending on the network speed. Yeah.
Okay.
So what we are doing is we are simulating. So the network speed will be actually controlled by the browser itself. Now you
Okay.
can see the loading is coming. Actually, it was also working in the first scenario,
Yeah.
but that script was loaded. Like no, that
I
was
think-
script was so running so fast that you could not actually catch that. And I think it will take a lot of time now to load.
Okay.
Okay, so
I
finally,
think it was loaded.
yeah. So basically, it was also loaded in the previous time, but it was done in a very fast
It was
fashion.
so fast that.
We cannot see it. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go ahead and see how a proper loader is made. I think throttling is something which we should always try.
Yes.
Basically, when your customer is from a different region, what you try to do is you try to see what is the network speed, because it can happen that your application will be used by people who are in a bus, and then they might be using 3G, normal 3G, which is kind of not that good, and
Yes.
sometimes they are out of the network coverage area. So use throttle, where different scenarios of network speed are being given, and then you, based on that, you test the application. Okay,
Yes,
so
very true.
yeah, so let's go ahead and design a proper loader.
Proper loader. So, like, should we put a good loader there
Yeah, let's go.
instead of loading?
Yeah.
So, shall I take it from the internet?
Yeah, we can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So, you can find many sites where they provide a lot of sources for these loaders, and this is one such site. So, we can just get a loader. Okay, this one looks
Okay, so the
nice.
source code of our code and this links will be given after the webinar, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So you can just go to the source and you can add these to your script, basically, or HTML. So instead of loader loading, I put this, and let's add the style too. So save it, and we put it.
We have so much animation.
Yeah. So if we save it and we go back here, we
Throttle again.
throttle again.
Yeah.
So let's do a regular 3G, and
I think once the okay, you are doing hard refresh.
hard
Okay.
refresh. And you
So
can
this is
see-
the loader which will run for maybe a few seconds until the library is being loaded.
you can-
And you can also have your logo within the loader itself, and
and
you'll-
some kind of an animation where maybe the logo is filling up, or
Yeah.
something is happening there.
yeah, if you go to skybuffer.com, so this is one of the partner which we are working with,
Okay.
and then they have awesome loader. Yeah,
Skybuffer.com.
yeah, just .com. Yeah, yeah. So I think they have a similar loader in the website. If you go to their homepage, yeah, can you see
Yeah.
the loader with the logo, and it loads their website. So I think this kind of loaders, it took around 2 seconds, but still that was a loading time, and if because the network speed here is good, so maybe that is the scenario. But sometime when you throttle this with 2G speed, then it takes around 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And 10 seconds is actually a lot of time for someone to leave your website. It's enough time for a user to leave your website.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now,
So let's come back to our presentation, because as we have seen a hands-on demo, even if it's a very small demo, like still we got a basic idea that there is a DOM element
yes.
or function which is DOM content load. Name of the function is DOM content load, and then once it is initial, and then there is a second state called complete.
Yes.
So within that time, we can show a loader. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back to the slide and see what are the definite loader will do.
Definite loaders.
Yeah.
So even inside definite loaders, we have the inaccurate one. As I said, that it will give you a sense of like how much time is remaining, or okay, something is happening. It will actually tell you, okay, yeah, something is happening. 10% of it is loaded, or 30% of it is loaded.
Yeah.
But you know, okay, where you are with it. So to make those kind of loaders, you need to take care of everything that is in your website, like all the scripts, all the images. So to make an inaccurate loader, what you can do is take the most heavy items in your app. So if it is image, you can think of it as image. If it is a very huge library, then you can actually see how much time is the library is going to take to load, and depending on that, create a loader. So this is getting a bit more complicated. So mostly the most heavy content in our website are images.
Yeah.
So what you can do is, if you have a set of 10 images in your website, you can have all those images. You have all those images in an array, and as each of those images are loading,
Yeah.
once they have loaded, you can increase the progress bar
Yeah.
to say you have 10 images. So once the first image is loaded, you can increase the progress bar to 10%. Once the second one is loaded, you can increase it to 20%. So that's how you go on and do it till 100%, and your site is loaded basically. So
So,
we can.
one question which I have regarding the this definite loader is like, is if my content is something which I cannot really find when it will be loaded, because at each iteration
Yeah.
I need to understand how much part is actually downloaded now and how much part is remaining. But some of
Okay.
the server don't give that information outright,
Yes.
or it depends upon, like, some of the files are linking to other files, and then in that case, it how much you try you cannot
So
really get it.
there was one such service that I have used. So it's Cloudinary,
Yeah.
and if you have images stored in Cloudinary, well, the APIs that they provide, they provide with you with the progress too. Like if the image size is 2 MB, and you want to know how much of it has been loaded till this point of time, they will give you that information, and you can actually show how much part of the image has been loaded.
True, true, true.
So you can search for services like this. The one that I have worked with and I know,
Hands
like
on.
no hands-on, is
Yeah.
Cloudinary.
Okay, so I think let's go ahead and start a simple example of definite loader as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but then I think you have some content written on the document navigation API as well.
Yes. Okay, those are the accurate loaders. This is where you get a very close estimate of how much time is remaining for the complete DOM to get loaded.
Okay.
So we have the navigation API in the document object.
Yeah.
It gives you the details about how much time is it going to take for the DOM to load, and depending on that, you can make a progress bar. You can
Okay.
actually show, okay, 3 minutes are remaining,
Okay.
2 minutes are remaining, stuff like that.
Okay. So let's go ahead and start
Just
the
a
development
second.
for the definite loader.
Okay. Just a second. Let me copy the CSS here, because that's a big CSS.
Okay, in the meantime, I think you can go ahead also and type any questions you have. One experience I would like to show as well, if you are making specifically loaders for your library, in UI5, the way of doing it is pretty different.
Yeah.
You are not really doing custom JavaScript. You try to see in your sap.m.app that if that particular component, because you don't really initiate with sap.m.app, we will be giving you a sample code after this webinar as well
Yeah.
for how to write a loader in UI5. What the point is, you have to just see if all the, I think the same div element is used, the same document complete is used, and after that you start to write sap.m.app, and then you remove it within the JavaScript function.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's your part is done. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think let's go into action and less of theory.
Okay. So as I said, for the inaccurate loader, we will be using images because the most heavy content in our website is images.
Yeah, true.
Now I have 3 images here, and they have been taken from our website only.
Yeah.
So we'll be loading these. So before adding a loader, okay, let's just see what it looks like. So indefinite.html. Okay, this was the one that we loaded, inaccurate.html. So we have these 3 images
Yeah.
right here. So we'll throttle it again so that we get to see, because it's loading very fast and it's tough to show loader there. Okay. So what we need to do is make sure that each of the images are loaded, and once one of the images are loaded, we increase it by, since we have 3 images, so 33%.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go back. Okay, and we will remove the comment from here, and we'll also add the link to CSS.
Okay.
So this is style1.css. So now what I'm going to do is define a function. Okay, so loader, and then I'm going to get all the images that
Okay.
I have in our HTML.
Okay.
So all images equals. So you can do it using document.images.
Okay, so basically, this is kind of a hack where you are assuming that the images will be the last thing to be loaded. So if the images are
Yeah,
loaded,
they take the most of the time. Like
Okay,
even
okay,
if you
okay.
open any social networking website,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
images
yeah.
are the last one to load.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay, if your website is heavily for third-party libraries, then you show
hey,
the.
I mean, I'm just showing it for images, but what you can do is you can do it for anything.
Okay.
Like even if you have script, so you can check whether the script has been loaded
Okay.
or not.
Maybe for both also. Maybe
For
images.
both also.
Okay, okay.
So, well, the API for images are like very straightforward.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's easy to understand. So I have got all images.
Yeah.
Now what I'm going to do is simply create a for loop. I equals 0 and I lesser than all images dot length. Now all images dot length would give you how many images are there. So document dot images would give you all the images that are there in your platform.
Yeah.
And they are stored in an array basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I plus plus. Now for every image, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a image tag.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So to create an image tag, uh, new img. Then each time on load equals, I'll call a function loading or loaded, and then I'm going to give it the source equal to dot source. Okay. Then I'm going to define a function that's named loaded. Okay. Now I want the width.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll be changing the width to 33% as like each of those images are loaded.
Okay, okay, okay. Now basically you are creating the bar, which
Yes.
will be showing the progress bar. So the logic here is, if you go down in the line number 30, you have a new object of image, and then you are saying image dot onload loaded, image dot source equal to dot source. So basically what you're trying to do.
onload is a function. Onload is an event
Okay.
which is called whenever this image gets loaded.
Okay, it's at the end point of the
Yes.
image loading. Okay.
Once the loading has completed.
Okay, yeah.
So onload is called, and it will be calling this function loaded.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So I also don't know how many images are there, so I need to divide the steps.
Yeah.
So the number of steps would be the number of images that are there.
Okay, yeah.
All images dot length.
Okay.
Okay. And then so every time this loaded function is called, I'll increase the C by 1.
Okay, and then you check if C is
Yes.
is
C
all step
equals
image
to steps.
count, maybe, yeah, and then it's
Okay.
return
Then
break maybe.
no, then I'll just
Okay.
say that okay, just remove this overlay.
Okay, yeah, okay, okay.
Okay. Remove overlay. Okay, but
Remove overlay is not defined.
yeah, I'll define it.
Okay.
Okay.
Like too much for a loader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it gets complicated as you
increase.
start giving more and more features to the user.
Yeah,
Okay,
so-
it's more work for you,
So
but
maybe the app is slow because of your loader, not because of your code. Yeah, okay.
okay. So, okay, we need to increase the size of the width.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Size of the width. Okay. Very simple.
So, as you can see, for the progress, we'll have width 0
Yeah, yeah.
initially. So, what we are going to do here is see all images. Okay, that's, I have to divide 100 by the number of steps. Okay.
And then take the round off, it doesn't matter if the loader is little up
Yes.
and down.
Okay, variable w equals 100 by the number of steps.
Okay, so basically you're saying loaded percentage.
Loaded percentage.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, don't make it 63.666667% loaded.
Multiplied by
Steps, yeah. And then I think I will suggest to do a percent because no one wants percentage, calculate.
Okay, let's do a
Yeah.
percent here.
Okay, so basically this is showing a percentage of how much loading has been done. Okay.
Okay, so we have ID progress. So get element by ID progress. Now, I have been working with jQuery since last few weeks.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm just getting confused in the
DOM.
syntax.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I have been using dollar and then suddenly I have document.getElement by ID.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, dot style dot width equals
I wonder why they
W
define the sign of jQuery as dollar. Maybe they want to show money.
maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll increase the
Okay, percentage. Okay,
W
fine.
percent. Okay, now
Okay, but then okay. Basically, you are changing the style, plus percentage. Okay, it's the CSS you are changing now.
yes.
Okay, fine.
Now every time that I'm doing this, I feel like writing dollar this dot
Okay.
hide dollar this dot show. That's so easy to.
But
write.
basically, okay, you if you are writing a loader for your jQuery itself,
Yeah.
then you don't have a dollar available till that time.
Yeah, jQuery takes a lot of time to load itself. But anyway, so
Unless you're using CDN. Yeah.
yes. So document dot get element by ID overlay.
Okay, and then you're hiding it.
Yes, I'll just change the display to none. Dot style dot display equals none.
I like the visibility hidden.
Actually, okay, the difference is if you put display equal to none, it removes it from the DOM tree.
Okay, okay.
If visibility is hidden, it just hides it.
Yeah, true.
Okay, but it is still there.
Okay.
Okay, that is the only difference.
Yeah, basically, if you're from design background, we would always want to hide things,
Yeah.
then just to remove it because maybe that's
No,
a different.
I mean the problem is like if it is occupying like 50 pixels of height.
Okay, yeah.
If
yeah.
you do a visibility of hidden,
Yeah.
then you won't be able to see anything there, but there will be a height of 50 pixels
Okay,
there.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we don't
yeah.
want that to happen with the loader.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay, let's save it
Let's-
and
let's
let's try running it.
Check. So it's loader. It's not really throttle. Have you throttled it? Okay, I think nothing shown.
Okay.
At least some bug should be there in console.
No, the bug. There will be
It's
no bug.
too
in the
fast.
console.
I think you are offline. No.
Network throttling is enabled.
But those are okay. You are
Okay, I. kind
okay.
of-
Hard refresh it, but still, I think there's no thing. Is it too much? Yeah, the
The progress bar is not showing.
Okay, let's go ahead and okay. Check your DOM.
Okay.
So the biggest challenge, if your loader is not working, because
It has to be CSS. What else?
yeah, it has to be CSS, but then the biggest challenge in designing a loader is check and test it because you remove it as soon as the DOM tree is loaded, so you cannot really find it out. So maybe I think we can stop the removal part of it and see how it is loaded.
No, but it's not removing it.
Okay, because it's not adding it itself, correct?
Okay, let's just see whether this is being called or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was called, yeah. Loader was called. I think loaded was called. In console, you should always write a function because then you can know which function actually called it. I don't think it might be called, but like no.
Okay,
The
it's
logic
not getting
doesn't
called
work.
because loaded. Okay.
Okay, is it in black
Yeah.
color? Okay.
Okay, is it some problem with this?
Okay, I think most of the time the for loop has an issue with the I.
Okay, is it even going inside?
Now I know why Steve Jobs named iPad. It's because for I in the for loop. So that's a bad joke maybe.
Okay. Sorry, I'll just okay, it's not going inside the for loop itself. Is it document.images or document.image?
So we are live. You can just ping us because you are seeing the code, and if you are able to find the bug, then four coupon codes will be given for entire bundle access. Till the time, let's debug it. That's the best part of the webinar. Yeah. Okay, so if you see document dot, what I normally will do in this case is I will try to write that particular code within the console itself and see if it's kind of working out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea actually.
Experience matters.
Document dot I have experience with this. Is this the methods you find out over time? Okay, it's images only.
Yeah.
Okay, there are three.
Yeah.
I was right.
Or what you can do is you have to write a word called debugger within the script itself. If you write it, just write it debugger. If after C, I think I will suggest you to write debugger. Yeah, debugger. Yeah, and then and then try to run. This is the best thing you should you would know today. If you don't know what is debugger is. Okay, so now the debugging will be stopped in the exact position, and you have to go in the source basically. So yeah, I think it's loaded or not loaded.
Yeah, it's loaded.
Yes. Have you stopped the debugging? I think somehow your page, your script is not being called.
How about we make it?
Well, basically, where you are calling the function loader, it's a function, correct? So. Okay.
Sorry, my bad.
So this is the mistake which can cause you your job as well in the live web. Okay, not to be too much sarcastic here.
Okay, pause.
Pause now.
Yes.
So,
If I resume.
and still like your bad-looking bar is not coming. Okay, still you are getting some error. That is like a good sign. Error is good because something is happening.
Okay, it's new image, not new IMG.
Okay. So in the world of WhatsApp and Facebook chat, people forget the syntax of codes. Therefore, you should.
No, I just thought that this is IMG, so that should be also IMG.
Okay.
Do we have the debugger?
No. Okay, so I think it will not. I don't think the code is good enough. Okay, it's loading, but it is very bad looking loader.
Of course, I mean like, okay, I was called thrice.
Okay. So, but
so the problem was just that
the percentage
I didn't call this one.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so basically the two errors which we found is when you define a function, you should call it actually.
Yeah. Okay, so document dot what we can also do is like for the stats, progress stat, you can put stat dot inner HTML equals W plus %. Okay, we can have something like
Okay,
this.
so basically you're saying, okay, make sure to make this particular element a little bigger So at least the bar is so thinner that I should.
Yeah, that is just 1 pixel
Oh, yeah,
of
yeah.
height.
I think
so
you can make it like at least 10
Let's
pixels.
like it's-
Make it healthy, little. It should. It should come.
We are not grandparents. Okay, so font size instead of 0.7 let's make it
So
1.5.
if your customer is paying a lot of money, then like give little 1 pixel to your bar itself.
The bars are supposed to be thin, right?
Yeah, like it's yeah. If your customer is giving too much money, then make it thin. It will become more classy. Okay, so now there is no bar.
Initially there will be no bar, right? But once.
Yeah, so this looks like a C program in 1998.
Yeah. But we have CSS3, so we can
Oh.
actually make it look way nicer than that.
Okay, so basically the indefinite loader is also finished.
Yeah.
The main idea which we saw within this definite loader is the use of image. We know that okay, image is something which loads at the end, because if your application is image centric, then you take that assumption. If your application is mostly script centric,
Yeah.
then you take that assumption, and based on that, if you are sure that that will be the last thing which will be loaded, you design a script, and this will not be accurately exact. For example, if your website is loaded like 50%, it can be that it might have actually loaded 60%. So the 10% you have to compromise. But then I think like for people who want efficiency to its accurateness, then
Yeah.
you have to consider a lot of cases like images also, scripts also.
But there's a better way to do that using the navigation API.
Okay, so we are going to cover it, or we are going to just it's an assignment for people who are watching this live webinar, or like
Well, I can just show them the API basically.
okay, yeah.
So yeah, we can use the same one, but we'll just change the script here.
Okay.
So okay, let's not define it as a function this
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Okay. So
So the modular paradigm is if not a failure. I will not say the failure because I used it.
performance
the
time
project code. Yeah.
equals document.
So this is inbuilt in the browser, or is it like
It's inbuilt.
Okay.
Performance dot timing.
because if it is not inbuilt in the browser,
In fact, even rather than showing here, what I can do is show it right in the console.
okay, yeah, that's
Okay.
the best thing to. Yeah.
So document dot performance.
So this is your browser support ES6 or is this 5?
ES5.
5, correct. Or the ES6, which I think we are in the project core, we're teaching ES6, correct.
Yeah.
So they might there is no update for the loader, or any navigation API is provided.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not document, it's window. It's inside window dot performance dot timing.
Okay.
So it will give you a object that would have all these values. So the one that we are like really concerned about here is load event end.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the one where things will have loaded completely, and okay, DOM content loaded event start.
Okay. So basically, this is ES5.
ES5.
Okay. Okay.
It will be in ES6 also. They have added new features, but the old features are also there.
Okay. Okay.
So we'll find a difference between these two, load event end and loaded event start.
Okay. This is the timestamp.
Yes.
And then if they are like how big, because load events start and end, there's a difference in time.
Yes.
Like how will you kind of do it?
So
basically?
I have the timing now, so I
Okay.
can just say this much time is remaining for.
Okay.
And I can have a step function where like I'll be increasing the progress bar by 10% or so whenever that step function is reached.
Okay. So basically, at every point, you will be checking the end time.
No, I won't be checking the end time every time. I'll just find the difference between the end and the start time.
Okay.
And I have the difference now. So that is the amount of time the page is going to take to load.
Basically, but then how this variable will get an idea that how much amount of network downloads of an application is remaining?
So it has got the size of the objects
Okay.
that it wants to download, and then it knows the network speed.
Okay.
So that's what they have done internally Okay, so
Okay.
this is how you get to know the performance of your website.
Okay.
So if you're using this API, you get to know how is your website performing.
Yeah. Can you also zoom this thing console a little bit?
Yeah.
Control plus because the screen within the YouTube is little less.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you can see,
Mhm.
load event end,
Okay.
and not really load event start, but DOM content loaded event start.
Okay. Okay. So this is
the difference between these two will give you an approximate time of how much.
load event end and DOM content event start.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So these are the two loaders. So now the good part is coming where we can see some of the very nice loaders which you can also use within your application. So
Yes.
this is the first loader which like you can see this is an animation effect, and basically what it will do is it's let me
Yeah.
play it a little bit. So this is kind of a ping pong game. So uh, if you can see this is going to, I think this is a way, like a arrow of download.
Yeah, it's an arrow of download, and once you start the download,
Okay.
it goes on and completes this once the things have been downloaded.
Okay, okay. But then you need to also specify that the speed of how it's drawing the circle
Yes.
should be slow if it takes more time.
Yes.
Should be fast if it's taking a lot of time. So how you do that actually?
So this is something that you already know how much size
Okay.
of
File.
the file is, the one that you are going to download,
Yeah.
and then you also know what is your network speed.
Okay.
You can just see how much is going to be downloaded per second,
Okay.
and depending on the time interval when you are increasing that, you want it to be smoother or like slow.
Okay.
So you can do those kind of customizations using those.
Yeah. So and this is a very nice loader where basically we have a small
Hourglass.
animation of hourglass, and I think this is like a for someone who drinks a lot of wine or whiskey, they would love it.
Yeah, it becomes a wine glass from
Yeah.
an hourglass.
So what the message behind the loader is like drink it up. Drink it up. Okay, and then this is the third time of load. This is little artistic because
Artistic.
basically, okay, this is very nice. At the end, I
Yeah.
think your app is actually just loaded.
It's like a key.
Yeah.
The key is opening whenever the.
So basically, if we have the speed of rubbing the drawings
Yes.
as how much time it takes
How
to
much
load.
time
Okay.
it takes to.
So
load.
if your application is very slow and the network is also very slow, then the diagram will be omitted very slowly.
Yes.
So like that's
And that's
nice.
very good to engage the user. Okay, he can see some nice animation and he'll be happy. Okay, just before using the app, I'm seeing something good about. Okay, this app. So.
Yeah, I think one of the
I have
major
more trust here.
one of the major sites is like this Forbes.com where they give you a quote actually
Codes.
before actually the loading, so people will also think about 2 seconds or 5 seconds about the code, and then they forget the website is slow.
Yeah.
It's not slow, but this is a I think maybe they might have okay, basically we are talking and then we are just kind of forgot to switch. Sorry guys, I think we will cover the loader again.
Oh my
Okay.
God, did we?
Yeah, so this is the first loader which we actually sorry for
Okay,
the
okay.
mistake.
It's like one of those times when I was shooting a video for a course
Yeah.
and I forgot to turn off the microphone.
Yeah.
And I shot entire day and there was no audio in the video.
Yeah, so basically this is the first loader which we were saying about the download, and I think the circle which is made, the speed of the drawing of the circle is basically depending on how much time your file takes to load,
Yeah.
get loaded, and then this is the for the people who love wine. This is the hourglass in the wine.
Martini also.
Yeah, martini also. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's the people who are rich people, they can correlate who know what is martini.
James
People
Bond.
who have in Wall Street, they have interest and they might recognize it.
Yeah.
And then this is the drawing app which we kind of made fun of, and then
We forgot to
Yeah.
show it to you.
yeah, show it to you. Okay, so these are the three loaders. I think you should always give it a try. We will share the codes with you, and let's see how much creative you can become. Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you design some really good loaders for maybe our website?
So one quick question, one quick like no, not a question. It's kind
Yeah.
of a confession. Is that when I was working in the project, it was a U5 project. To impress the customer, what I did, I cut the logo into different parts, and in the loading time, the logo was kind of just coming together and merging and forming their
Yes.
the company logo. And they got impressed not from the app but by just the logo. And then every time they just refresh the app before 5 times before using it, just to see their company logo form, and then I spend quite a lot of time in like doing that little artistic side. So just give it a try. If you're working for big companies, they will just kind of love it. And then this is the first thing your customer will be seeing when the
Yes.
application is loaded.
The first
And
impression is the
yeah,
last
and the
impression.
last impression. Okay, so this is the entire webinar, and then we have covered basically two types of loaders.
Yeah.
And what we would also like you to do here is design your own loaders. We will be giving the piece of the code which we
Yes.
wrote, and I will also share the UI5 code for the loader as well. We would like you to design some of the nice loader and also share within this video
Yeah.
description or the comment section. And if you're facing any queries, you can always reach out to us. We are here to help you as well.
Yes.
So, in the next webinar, we will be going hands-on as well. I think Project Core is complete now.
Yeah.
Testing is almost done. I think we got partnership with HANA. For the HANA, I think Google as well. And that's something which is a good news.
Yeah.
You can see all the Google platform, cloud platform logo here as well. We will be giving you your own SAP HANA Express platform for the
Yes.
Project Core.
And that's where you can actually go ahead and do a hands-on.
True, true,
You
true.
can practice whatever is going to be taught there.
So become part of the bundle and never stay behind. And you can use the coupon for 80% off, and then coupons are given out. My gift coupon, I think you can use,
Yeah.
and that will actually cut the price to 80%. This is kind of a very good offer from UFFCN.
Mm.
And become part of the bundle. The Project Core is one of the unique thing you will ever get access to.
Yeah.
So we will catch up in the next webinar, and the next webinar we will be talking one more
Something cool
details.
again.
Yeah, cool again. Yeah.
Yeah.
See you then.
See you again.
Bye. Good
Bye-bye.
night.